Wife Directive 8, Saved by Her Children. Hello everybody, I'm Jim McCotter. Welcome. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9 through 15. And I want women to be modest in their appearance. They should wear decent and appropriate clothing and not draw attention to themselves by the way they fix their hair or by wearing gold or pearls or expensive clothes. For women who claim to be devoted to God should make themselves attractive by the good things they do. Women should learn quietly and submissively. I do not let women teach men or have authority over them. Let them listen quietly. For God made Adam first, and afterwards he made Eve. And it was not Adam who was deceived by Satan. The woman was deceived, and sin was the result. But women will be saved through childbearing, assuming they continue to live in faith, love, holiness, and modesty. End quote. There is a lot to be learned from these verses, but first I want to say how sad for those women who think their outward appearance is what makes them most attractive. Lipstick will never make a woman as attractive as the good things they do, as the verse said. God not only tells what makes women look attractive, but also how they themselves can always be blessed. James 1 verse 25 says, if you do what this word says, and don't forget what you heard, then God will bless you for doing it. End quote. Don't be misled. God doesn't want you to have sloppy dress and thus draw attention to yourself that way. God does not want you to try to draw attention to yourself by dressing inappropriately in any setting. The most attractive woman will focus on, quote, the good things she does. 1 Timothy 5 verse 10 says, she will be well respected by everyone because of the good she has done. Has she brought up her children well? Has she been kind to strangers and served other believers humbly? Has she helped those who are in trouble? Has she always been ready to do good? End quote. And also, here is the beautiful woman, the wife who always, quote, learns quietly and submissively and listens quietly. End quote. This is not naturally characteristic for most women and certainly not the ungodly. But this is how a godly woman will display her godly beauty. God says, I do not let women teach men or have authority over them, end quote. Now, if you think women lose out in life because God does not want them to teach men or have authority over them, such women have missed seeing how they can be the most powerful and influential persons in the world, yes, and more than men. Women will be saved through childbearing, assuming they continue to live in faith, love, holiness, and modesty. Unlike men, only women can give birth to world leaders. All great men have come from some mother. In the 9th century, William Ross Wallace, who was a lawyer and an American poet, he wrote a poem that has been read around the world. Quote, for the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. End quote. There is no greater world influencer than a mother. I always think it's interesting that when great athletes are being interviewed after a game on TV, they often say, hi, Mom. Whether athlete, lawyer, entrepreneur, or congressman, most credit Mom for making them what they are. Success in any other field for a woman is shallow compared to motherhood. In her later years, she will not wish she had devoted more time to help make some corporation great versus more time to help make her sons great. Psalms 45:16 says, your sons, you will make them princes throughout the land. End quote. This is the godly woman, Proverbs 31:27 through 31. She watches carefully all that goes on throughout her household and is never lazy. Her children stand and bless her. So does her husband. He praises her with these words, there are many fine women in the world, but you are the best of them all. Charm can be deceptive and beauty doesn't last, but a woman who fears and reverences God shall be greatly praised. Praise her for the many fine things she does, these good deeds of hers. shall bring her honor and recognition from people of importance. End quote. God's first mandate for the woman in Genesis 1 is not for her to build a secular career for herself or get married to build such a career, but rather to get married and build a mighty family. Quote, to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and rule. End quote. This is how civilization is built. Nothing is more important than this. Shockingly, the Muslims have obeyed this better than Christians. And by only obeying this one command, they are taking over nations in the world today. It's interesting in Genesis 1, after God says, be fruitful and multiply in the world, he then says, why? To subdue it and rule. End quote. Children are the key to a woman's power and world influence. God said in Psalms 127, 1 and 2, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman keeps awake in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to retire late, to eat the bread of painful labors, for he gives to his beloved even in his sleep. End quote. Here God says to build, to guard, to eat. But then he says he gives to his beloved even in his sleep. While a mother sleeps, a child grows in her womb. And then God says, behold, children are the gift of the Lord. The Lord is going to build the house, but the Lord is saying how he is going to build it with the children. Children are God's gift to build and accomplish all this. Psalms 127, 3 through 5 goes on to say, behold, children are a gift of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. Like arrows in the hand of warriors, so children are one's youth. How blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. They will not be ashamed when they speak with their enemies in the gate. That's where rulers meet. End quote. Your children are the Lord's gift, reward, arrows, blessings, rulers. End quote. The Apostle Paul tells young women to marry and have children in 1 Timothy 5, 14 and 15. Quote, I advise the young widows to marry again, have children, and take care of their own homes. Then the enemy will not be able to say anything against them, for I am afraid that some of them have already gone astray and now follow Satan. End quote. In the Greek, the word younger is there, but the word widows is not. The word marry is there, but the word again is not. And the words have children in Greek is literally to be a childbearer. The word care in Greek is literally manage. So in Greek, the Holy Spirit had this literally written much more potently. Quote, I advise the younger to marry, to be a childbearer, manage their house. End quote. For sure it would include younger widows, but the literal application would include all younger women to marry, bear children, and make home their management business. To not promote God's model may be, quote, following Satan, end quote, and his futile worldly model. Throughout human history, until about the 60s, most families tended to follow God's natural law as well as biblical model. The motherhood and home model is far more superior than any secular career ever could be, even as this verse may imply. Matthew 16:26. What does it profit if you gain the whole world and lose your own soul? Women will be saved through childbearing. What does this mean? It's not talking about God's gift for eternal salvation, but in context, where it says not to teach or lead men, it says a woman is saved by being able to lead and influence through her children, like arrows that are shot to affect others, shot out to affect the world. Quote, blessed whose quiver is full of them. End quote. A woman is saved from losing her soul to temporary meaningless activity, for futile activity, for inanimate occupations, for monetary vainglory. 1 Peter says, it is like grass in all its glory, like the flower of grass. The grass withers, the flower falls off, but the word of the Lord endures forever. To conclude, Genesis 1 and 1 Timothy 2, be fruitful and multiply. Women will be saved through childbearing, assuming they continue to live in faith, love, holiness, and modesty.